and welcome to the Rotary Club of St Ives. You've got one of the hardest working local members in this chamber, so thank you for coming. Speaker, I move that this House, number one, notes the changed transmission line route for the New England Renewable Energy Zone. 2, condemns the Minns Labor government's lack of proper consultation on the changes. 3, calls on the Minns Labor government to act on the concerns of regional communities about the bungled rollout of renewable energy projects. Speaker, at about 6 a.m. on Thursday before the long weekend, EnergyCo released a press release which changed the path of transmission infrastructure from Bayswater up to the New England. Previously, the path of this transmission infrastructure was along the New England Highway and then doglegging around Tamworth up into the New England. The press release from EnergyCo changed that path to a line through the Upper Hunter up into the New England, which cuts across at least 100 farmers' properties and also cuts across known habitat for koalas, for gliders, and for quolls. Now, this announcement that was made by press release was done with minimal consultation with impacted farmers, to the point where some of these farmers found out about this change by reading the press release on Thursday morning. Other farmers had had a visit on the Wednesday afternoon by 2 EnergyCo representatives who said to them, it's great news, the transmission lines are now coming through your property, you'll get some money. To which the farmers replied, well, what do you mean? We don't know anything about this. EnergyCo's response was, we can't tell you anything, it's not official until tomorrow, keep an eye on the internet, you'll get all the details there. That is the level of consultation that was engaged in by EnergyCo with these farmers. It is a disgrace. It doesn't matter what side of politics you're on. If you were one of these farmers, you would be ridiculously and understandably peed off. You would be angry. We're talking about people's homes. We're talking about people's properties where their families have been for over 100 years. And this is the level of consultation that they have. Now, the local council of Walker received no consultation. The elected members of the Walker Council were not advised. The Mayor of Walker received a telephone call the afternoon before the announcement and again was told, this is great, it's coming through Walker, don't worry, only 2 properties will be impacted. Well, after a little bit of digging, it became very obvious that those 2 properties were council properties. And so there was that little sweetener given by EnergyCo, which was notoriously misleading. That's what's going on up in the New England. That's what's going on in this rollout of renewables across regional New South Wales. If you look at this line, Speaker, if you look at where they're proposing to run this line, there are so many problems with it. Firstly, it's not needed. These lines are not needed. The hubs are not needed. There are no projects to feed into it, yet the government is proposing to spend billions of dollars building this infrastructure that will not be needed. This particular line was looked at 12 months ago by the government. The government spent millions of dollars looking at this line, this path. It failed 5 out of 6 of the government's own benchmarks. So 12 months ago, the government looks at this, it fails. It fails 5 out of 6. Nothing has changed in the last 12 months, yet the government now proposes to spend billions of taxpayers' money building a line that was rejected. I've spoken about the environment. It hits gliders, it hits koalas, it hits quolls. Doesn't seem to worry, doesn't seem to matter. We wax lyrical about the Great Koala National Park, but if you're a koala in Walker, look out, we're coming to get you. Firefighting from aerial applications. These transmission towers are as tall as the highest point on the Opera House. Now, I am a very low-hour pilot. I've got a pilot's license. I'm a very bad pilot. But even I know that you are not... I wouldn't fly with me either. Even I know that you are not going to be able to fight a fire anywhere near these transmission lines with these towers there. This is rough, undulating, hilly country. This line cuts through airstrips, it cuts through sheds, it cuts through stockyards. It cuts within 20 metres of someone's house. That house has been there for over 100 years. There's going to be a power line within 20 metres of it now. We're talking about some of the best grazing country in New South Wales as well. The very best grazing country in New South Wales. It's going to have power lines running right through it. That's going to impact, it's going to impact the value, it's going to impact the carrying capacity, it's going to do all sorts of negative things. And again, the community has no say in any of this. It continues as well between Salisbury Plains, beautiful little pocket of country between Uralla and Walker. Previously, the landholders there were dealing with one line, one 330 kVA line. Now these landholders are dealing with two 500 kVA lines plus 4 switching stations. So again, the goalposts have changed drastically. I was talking to one farming family earlier this week. The effect of this change to the two 500 kVA and the switching stations is that their carrying capacity has been smashed. They lose their airstrip. The compensation that they're going to be offered is insufficient. The acquisition that is being proposed is completely unworkable. The acquisition results in this family having a block of land that is cut off from every public road. So it's completely unworkable. They asked for further information from Energy Co. They were told, well, just go and get a lawyer. We've told you all we can. The regional communities of New South Wales are carrying the can here for the rest of New South Wales. All we are asking for is some common sense in the decisions that have been made by Energy Co. All we are asking for is some fairness. All we are asking for is to be heard, to be part of this conversation, because at the moment, what it feels like is all of this infrastructure has been thrown at us. We're the ones carrying the we're carrying the burden for everyone else's benefit. We just want to be heard. We just want to have a say. Thank you, Speaker.
Question is that the motion be agreed to. I call the member for Blue Mountains.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. I rise to speak on the opposition's motion concerning the New England Renewable Energy Zone, a motion that purports to stand up for regional communities, but in reality is political opportunism to drive a wedge around projects that they started and the bipartisanship our state has on climate and energy transition. Madam Speaker, I will flag that the government will be moving an amendment, which is remove all words after House and insert 1. Notes that the previous New South Wales Liberal Nationals government created the New England Renewable Energy Zone. 2. Supports the continued rollout of the New England Renewable Energy Zone, which is crucial to meeting the bipartisan net zero targets, putting downward pressure on energy bills and creating secure local jobs.
Order.
3. Notes that net zero and the New South Wales Electricity Infrastructure Roadmap remain Labor and Liberal Nationals policy. And 4. Condemns efforts to undermine this bipartisan position. Madam Speaker, let's begin with the facts. The New England RES was declared in December 2021 under the Electricity Infrastructure Roadmap. This plan was developed, legislated and proudly promoted by the previous coalition government. It was a plan built on bipartisan consensus, designed to ensure New South Wales could transition to clean energy and replace ageing coal-fired power plants. The plan was designed to keep the lights on, prices down and investment flowing into regional communities. The Renewable Energy Roadmap was not just a policy document. It was a promise that New South Wales would lead the way in delivering reliable, affordable, renewable energy. And it's working. It is attracting investment, creating jobs and giving regional New South Wales a central role in the state's energy future. But today we see the opposition, particularly the Nationals, turning their backs on that legacy. The very party that helped design the RESs now condemns the infrastructure that is needed to deliver them. We're waiting to see if everyone on that side of the chamber, Madam Speaker, still believes climate science and whether they support net zero or not. The silence is deafening and the division is growing. Madam Speaker, the Men's Labor government remains committed to the roadmap. We understand that delivering major infrastructure in regional New South Wales is complex. It requires consultation, adaptation and sometimes route changes. That's what happens when you consult and listen. That's exactly what has happened with the New England RES. Energy Co has revised the transmission corridor based on community feedback and technical assessment. The new route is 45 kilometres shorter, crosses flatter terrain and avoids critical aerial firefighting zones. It's safer, it's more efficient and better for the environment. It reduces the need for earthworks, improves access for emergency services and lowers construction costs, all while maintaining the same number of impacted landowners overall. Let's be clear, this is responsible adjustment made early in the planning process to ensure better outcomes for communities, the environment and the energy system. Yes, consultation must be ongoing, and it is. This is important.
Member for Coffs Harbour.
This is a 3-kilometre wide study area that will be refined to 140 metres based on consultation and further technical work. That means Energy Co will reduce the width of the corridor by over 95% based on feedback. That's a lot of room to work with. This is not a government ignoring the regions. It's a government listening and adapting. But what's most concerning is the opposition's attempt to politicise this process for their own politics. Because if we abandon the roadmap, if we walk away from the infrastructure that underpins it, we risk blackouts and we risk price hikes. We risk losing billions in private investment in regional New South Wales. Let me be clear, Madam Speaker, the roadmap is our path to energy security. It's our plan to replace ageing coal-fired power stations with clean, reliable alternatives. And without it, we face a future of uncertainty, not just for our energy system, but for the communities who depend on it. And let's not forget, this is not just about transmission lines. It's about the future energy of New South Wales. The New England RES alone will enable up to 12 gigawatts of new renewable generation. And that's enough to power millions of homes and businesses.
Question is the motion be agreed to. I call the member for Albury.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to participate in this debate. I want to thank the member for Northern Tablelands for bringing this debate before the House. More importantly, I want to thank you for being in the gallery. We stand here as regional MPs, and we're not here for political opportunism. We're here to speak of the deep concerns that our communities are raising with us. Just only a few weeks ago, in my community, the electorate of Albury, my local community, not at my behest, my local community called a town hall meeting to raise concerns about proposals for wind turbines to go ahead at, I'll say, is probably the most iconic piece of geography in my electorate, the Yambler Range or Tabletop Mountain. I encourage you to go home and look that up. There's a proposal there from Alinta to put in 30 turbines in, as the member for Northern Tableland spoke about some of his region, a very important piece of geography for our community. And I'll make this point clear. My community, it wasn't an argument about the climate or about the need to respond to that. It was the same issues raised by the member for Northern Tablelands community. It is that sense of not having a voice, not having agency, not being involved in consultation. It is that deep sense that government is not listening. And I ask you, as much as I respect the member for Blue Mountains, that speech has come from an advisor in the back room, some ministerial office, to put to you today. To suggest political opportunism from the member for Blue Mountains, it's not deeply upsetting for me in the sense that it would be deeply upsetting for my community to suggest that their concerns are motivated by nothing but political opportunism or some sort of naivety or ignorance when it comes to climate change.
You guys are split all over the place.
We are raising here in this House today the need to do better when it comes to consultation. I'm not saying in that sense that we're clean in that regard. In the last term of government, I attended committee inquiries on the Inland Rail, concerns around consultation associated with that. That was on us. I've seen before situations, as my colleague, the member for Goulburn, would speak to you about Energy Connect and HumeLink, Energy Connect in my patch, HumeLink in the member for Goulburn's. Yes, consultation thwarts, challenges a lot of governments. But that is why we're here today, because we're saying it is still an issue right here, right now, whether it be the Northern Tablelands community and the res there, or whether it be the community of Albury. The reality is the rollout of the renewable energy zones and the projects under this government have lacked coordination and clarity. Communities are being left to piece together information from developers and rumours rather than clear communication from the state government. And our local councils, our communities, farmers, residents, they deserve certainty, not confusion. It's not a transition for regional New South Wales if it's been done to regional New South Wales. And we just seek an understanding that we have been proud contributors to New South Wales development, but there needs to be balance. Projects need to respect environmental values, agricultural land and local character. Speaker, regional communities are not anti-renewable. Rather, they are pro-respect, pro-consultation and pro-balance. And this motion goes to the heart of what good governance should be: listening, engaging and being transparent with the people we represent. I support the motion.
The question is that the motion, as moved by the member for the Northern Tablelands, be agreed to. I call the member for Newcastle.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I move an amendment to the motion on behalf of the government. Remove all words after House and insert 1. Notes that the previous New South Wales Liberals Nationals government created the New England Renewable Energy Zone. 2. Supports the continued rollout of the New England Renewable Energy Zone, which is crucial to meeting the bipartisan net zero targets, putting downward pressure on energy bills and creating secure local jobs. 3. Notes the net zero and New South Wales electricity infrastructure roadmap remain Labor and Liberal Nationals policy. 4. Condemns efforts to undermine this bipartisan position. Madam Speaker, let's deal in facts, not fear. The opposition's motion today is built on a foundation of misinformation, misrepresentation and pure political opportunism. It seeks to undermine the very infrastructure that our state and our regional communities need, while ignoring the truth about what is actually happening on the ground. Energy Co have received a lot of community input around the transmission project and considered this alongside new technical information that was gained as the project proceeded. The route is now an intentionally 3 kilometre wide study area for which feedback will be taken as Energy Co refines it to 1 kilometre and then a 140 metre easement. Instead of giving people this information and directing them to available consultation, the opposition is seizing on this difficult decision as a political opportunity. Madam Speaker, let's start with the claims being made about the revised transmission route for the New England Renewable Energy Zone. I'm happy to provide the facts to the House. There are a few truths getting about on this change. I'd like to clear them up, and even more than that, I'd like the Nationals and Liberals to help give the community facts rather than stoking further concern. Of course, some people have not been happy to learn about the realignment, but that is necessary, and that's been done in a way that leaves a lot of room to consult on how the alignment looks within the 3 kilometre study area. But let's talk about the facts. Claim: the route is longer in distance. Truth: false. The new area is approximately 45 kilometres shorter than the previous corridor. Claim: more vegetation will need to be cleared in the new route. Fact: incorrect. The previous corridor had greater environmental impact, including more extensive vegetation clearing due to the need for more earthworks for access tracks and tower pads. Claim: The route is more expensive to build. Fact. False. The new study area is more efficient and easier to build, which is expected to reduce overall costs and deliver better value for energy consumers. Claim. The route will take longer to build. Fact. Wrong. While the development timeline may take longer due to planning refinements, the new route will be easier and faster to construct once underway. Claim. The new plans will see transmission lines go through 53 more properties than originally planned. Fact. Not accurate. The total number of impacted landowners remains roughly the same. Madam Speaker, what we're seeing from the opposition here is not constructive criticism. It's a deliberate attempt to politicise a complex infrastructure project, one that they helped themselves initiate under the Electricity Infrastructure Roadmap. And let's not forget, this was legislated by the previous coalition government. It was your plan, your vision. Your commitment is to net zero and to building renewable energy zones across New South Wales, and now you seem to be walking away from it. The Nationals, who once proudly supported the REZs, now condemn the transmission lines that make them possible. The Liberals are divided, uncertain and increasingly silent.
Order!
When they even support net zero.
Order! All
It's hard
members
to see
will
if
come
you're
to
on
order.
the same page at all. This matters, Madam Speaker. It matters because without bipartisan support, we
Member for
risk
Swansea.
losing the momentum that made us a strong leader in energy transition.
Member
Risk
for
losing
Swansea and
investor
Dubbo, you're on a
confidence.
call.
Risk delays, uncertainty, higher costs for consumer. Also, rising blackouts as ageing coal-fired power stations retire amidst leaving our grid vulnerable, our communities exposed, our economy at risk. People deserve more than political games. They deserve leadership. They deserve facts. They deserve a government and
You're on
opposition
two
that
calls,
puts the
Member for Swansea.
long-term interests of the state ahead
Member for
of
Dubbo's on
short-term
two calls.
point scoring. We call on you to commit to the roadmap that you once championed. Stop undermining, support the amendment and not the original motion.
Just before I call the next speaker, just for some clarification for the members here present, the amendment was foreshadowed by the member for Blue Mountains but formally moved by the member for Newcastle. I call the member for Upper Hunter.
Okay, well, thank you, temporary speaker. Well, I think these
Sorry,
speeches-
that's not an invitation to have a to and
These-
fro, member for Newcastle and member for Coffs Harbour, and you will show your colleague respect. Thank you.
These speeches that we've heard from the Honourable Muppets on from the other side just demonstrate.
Stop the clock. I do have to hear the point of order. Thank you. Take a seat, member for Upper Hunter.
The member for Upper Hunter will remove that comment from the Hansard. He will say that he will actually apologise for being so rude. If he wants to have a reasonable and decent debate here on something, then he needs to at least be polite and respectful to his colleagues in this place.
Thank you, member for Swansea. I'll ask the member for Upper Hunter if he'd like to withdraw. Thank you.
Madam Speaker. So it sounds like the honourable members on the other side don't seem to use their ears because this is all about a transmission project. It's got nothing to do with our position on climate change or net zero or everything else you want to talk about. It is a massive transmission project. Let me just tell you a bit about it because you probably don't even understand what's going on. It's a $4 billion project. It'll probably cost $8 billion, knowing that these guys are running it. You can basically guarantee that a lot of work has gone into this project
Member for
already.
Strathfield.
It's been going quite a while. A lot of us have been working with Energy Co all the way through. It's got massive towers, 76 metres high, all the way through. It's now, 500 kV double circuit steel tower line. Significant project going through, but not the first speaker that I've had to work with, because guess what? We had to work through the Central West Arana transmission project, and that was done, and we worked through that. We've now worked through the Hunter transmission project, another one that we've worked through. But guess what? Now we come to the New England transmission project. It's got to be the worst rollout we've seen, and it's the one that's been done under them. It is absolutely shocking. So this radical change in the route should have never even got through the Minister's office. It should have been shut down then at that point. It was being run up past Chaffey Dam through Tamworth there and up to Walker. Now it's going up through from Glenbourne, heading up north. And this proposed new route, the reasons why, because of bushfire, aerial issues, I'm sure we could have worked through that. Construction access, I'm sure we could have worked through that. Its location on steep terrain, I think one of the members raised that the fact that it was being taken off steep terrain and putting on flat farmland. Well, this is a debate we've had in the past, and I actually thought that the Energy Co had actually learnt its lessons. In fact, I've said a number of times that we learnt so much when we did the Arana project, because the engineers, of course, they want to come through. They want to whack it all the way through nice flat farming land instead of putting it on public land. And that is what this whole debate's about. It's about putting it where it's most appropriate. It's about putting it on those public lands. Yes, it might be difficult. Yes, it might be steep, but it's about making sure that that consultation is done and that we actually get it in the right place. And but we don't, on this project, and just another example of how it's been managed by those opposite, we actually have a consultation reference group, South it's called. Those terms of reference are providing timely, informative updates to the community, providing them with information and documents. They met on September 24th, you'd imagine, just a couple of weeks before this announcement. No inkling, no indication that there was a massive change in the route. There had no consultation through the very group that has been set up to consult with the community. No consultation with local MPs, none with councils, none with impacted individuals, no discussion, full stop. And we find out just before the long weekend when they want to put out the rubbish. I mean, outrageous. So the impact on my communities around Gundy is enormous. I have my Isis River Valley farmers really upset about what's happening. The Rukal diversion that they've put actually was going on some steep country. They were all happy with the position of the transmission line. Happy. Now we're running it over the top of the town. Over the top of the town. What madness is come out of this? I mean, this is what you get when you get a whole bunch of people going around trying to do their surveys in their cars, unmarked cars. We thought we had a crime wave happening up that road, but in fact they were out there sneaking around. Energy Co say they don't do it. They do it. They did it. We've got evidence they were doing it. It's outrageous, some of the behaviour that we've seen on this particular project. And I think that's where the minister needs to step in and stop these guys, because the engineers are having a go. Absolutely. You've got to manage the project. You've got to step up and get it sorted. And that's what regional communities need. We need transparency. We need to understand what was wrong with the old route. We need to be able to sit down at a table, but we need a Labor government that's willing to actually get it right. And you're not listening. You're not listening to the communities.
Question is that the motion be agreed to. Call the member for Strathfield.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this debate should be about the future of regional New South Wales, about jobs, investment and opportunity. It should be about climate leadership and energy security, about how we create a more sustainable and prosperous state for the next generation. And I understand in the motion from the member for Northern Tablelands, there's two things going on. One of it I get. The member for Northern Tablelands is rightly concerned about members of his community, about the impacts of members of his community. He is calling for more consultation. I get that, absolutely. And he's standing up for the rights and the concerns of members of his community. I absolutely get that. What I don't understand is that this change was announced on the 2nd of October. Right? Just 10 days ago, or a bit more than 10 days ago. The consultation period does not end until the 28th of November. The investigation area is 3 kilometres wide. The amount of the actual easement, the width of the actual easement is the width of the actual easement is 140 metres. So you got the investigation area 3 kilometres wide. The easement itself is 140 metres, which means there is 2 kilometres, 860 metres of wiggle room of space to work out where that easement actually goes. And the consultation has just begun. You've called for consultation, and that is exactly what Energy Co is doing now. There is a series of community workshops for members of your community to come. There is a series of community workshops for that feedback to be provided until the 28th of November. You've asked for feedback. I totally get that. This process is about providing feedback. But why are we having this debate, Madam Speaker? Why are we having this debate? It is about the political opportunism here. And the suggestion, the framing of the language that this is a bungled rollout. I get your call for consultation. But this accusation that this is a bungled rollout is just dangerously unserious. It's dangerously unserious. Members opposite. Because as other speakers have said, the renewable energy zones were designed, legislated and championed by your government when you were in government. And
Order! The members of the opposition will come to order.
Dangerously unserious. It hides what's
Member for
really
Coffs
going
Harbour, you're
on.
on a call.
It hides what's really going on over there, right? And that is the existential, metaphysical split that is happening within the coalition. And let me put it right out there. Do you support the energy transition? Do you support net zero? Right? Or is this the New South Wales coalition of the drama that is playing out with the federal coalition with Barnaby Joyce's bill to cancel net zero, to cancel Australia's commitment to net zero? So let me ask you, do you stand behind a commitment to net zero? Do you stand behind the energy transition? Are you clear about that? And if you stand behind it, you will understand, because you were in government not so long ago and you understand the difficulty of doing this. This is a generational, complex, it's not building a car park, right? It requires consultation, it requires hard decisions to be made, and that is the consultation that is happening now. This is a once in a generation transformation to our energy market and our energy system, that done properly and hopefully done with bipartisan support will deliver prosperity, not just for New South Wales, but will deliver prosperity, jobs, investment and a future to your communities in the region. So my call is, get behind net zero, the energy transition, the renewable energy zones in the regions that your government legislated, designed and championed. Get behind it.
You're the champion. You're the champion. You're one of the champions. Where are the lids? Where are they?
So, member for Tam... Sorry, thank you. I've got the call now. Thank you, members of the government. Thank you. Member for Tamworth, you'll need to seek leave.
I'm seeking leave to make a contribution, Madam Speaker.
Is leave granted? No. Sorry. So I'm just going to confirm that, but my understanding is that the additional speaker is reserved for the crossbench only, and any additional members need to seek leave. So just give me a moment. I'll just double check that with the clerks. Is that correct? That is correct. You cannot make a contribution, member for Tamworth. Sorry. The member for Goulburn seeks to make a contribution. Is leave granted? No. Sorry, member for Goulburn. I call the member for Coffs Harbour. Is leave granted? No. Is leave granted? The member for Bathurst seeks to make a contribution. Is leave granted? No. I call the member for Northern Tablelands in reply.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. So just for people watching at home, what you've just seen is a number.
The Northern Tablelands have been
number
Order.
of speakers. People at Walker are
Members
watching.
of
The
the
government
government.
laughs. I can guarantee you people at Walker are watching this. What you've just seen is the government shut down a number of speakers from the opposition. I thank the members who have made contributions from Upper Hunter and Albury, and I thank the members from the government, Blue Mountains, Newcastle and Strathfield. And I think that says it all. I think that says it all because we've been lectured here, regional members of parliament have been lectured here by the member for Blue Mountains, Newcastle and Strathfield. Now, in Labor land, Blue Mountains, Newcastle and Strathfield might be regional New South Wales, but it's not. What this motion is about today, and if you'd just given me the courtesy of reading it and listening to the speakers, it's about the bungled rollout of this transmission process. This transmission line has been moved. It has been moved with no consultation to landholders. Now, the member for Strathfield is someone I respect enormously, but you talk about the consultation process from here until the end of November. We're already halfway through October. The consultation forums, if I can even call them that, are a series of 4-hour meetings in community halls around the Northern Tablelands. Now, if someone was about to put one of these transmission lines through your places, I'm sure you would expect more than that. I'm sure you would want to be heard. And what we're seeing from Energy Co at the moment is they are not listening. They are not listening. A bit like, with all respect to the government speakers, you didn't listen to what we were saying. What we are saying is that regional communities just want to be heard. We just want to be heard. We've got knowledge to contribute to this process. No one's listening. Landholders know where these lines should run. No one's listening. Communities know. It's not happening, through you, Chair. The consultation process is not happening. It's on a glossy brochure. The brochures look great. The consultation is not happening. Regional communities are not being listened to, and as a result of that, this process is losing the community. And I stress that you are one step away from losing the entire community of Walker as a result of this bungled rollout. So I won't even respond to that. Come up to Walker. Come up to Walker, member for Blue Mountains. Come up and have a chat. I commend the motion to the House, and I ask the government, for goodness sake, start listening to the regional towns that this stuff is impacting.
The original question was that the motion as moved by the member for the Northern Tablelands be agreed to, upon which the member for Newcastle has moved that the motion be amended by removing all words after that and inserting new words as circulated. The question is that the amendment of the member for Newcastle to the motion be agreed to. All of those of that opinion say aye. To the contrary, no. No. Think the noes have it. Division has been called. Ring the bells. Thank you, members. Time has expired. Lock the doors. I appoint the member for Leppington and Gosford as tellers for the ayes, and Terrigal and Clarence as tellers for the noes. Thank you, members. There being 49 votes for the ayes and 34 votes for the noes, I declare the motion carried. The question is that the motion as amended be agreed to. All that opinion say aye. To the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. Thank you, members.